Welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. This is it. Don't get scared. As per usual, I want to talk about a few things I care about when it comes to the world of movies and movie news and other random topics. And then we will dive into your glorious, magical, and mystical questions. So get those questions in right now. But nevertheless, thank you guys for coming back once again to look at my stupid face. It's nice to see you guys every week. It really does keep me going. It's if I close my eyes late at night, this is one of my happy thoughts. So you guys aren't just viewers, you guys aren't just friends, you guys are part of the Flick family. So I thank you for that, and I do mean that from the bottom of my dark, decrepit soul. And the first question that I had tonight was from Patrice Chaswick, and thank you so much, Patrice. Hey Flick, fam. Won't be listening live, but we'll catch the replay. Did anyone else used to do Lokians as a kid? Lokians? What is that? They were always for birthdays, 3 hours in time zone, arcade, unlimited play on everything. Oh, lock-ins. Yes, I did. Sorry, it had an I in there. Yeah, I did lock-ins as a kid. Well, typically my lock-ins consisted of my uncle locking me in the basement without any food and water in the dark for 3 days at a time, as I just rewatched Silence of the Lambs on VHS. But I have done some lock-ins. But nevertheless, thank you so much for the question, Patrice, and I hope you enjoy that replay when you get to it. But how are you guys doing once again? And the main topics I want to talk about today, sorry, I get a bit sidetracked, is I want to talk about the concept of collecting movies and how that dream that once was is slowly fading away. I want to talk about that. And then the other main topic I feel like I want to talk about are some of my most anticipated movies of 2026. We're done with January. We got that shit out of the way. We can move on, and hopefully the good stuff keeps on coming. So we'll talk about those two main things today. And as always, once again, get your questions, get your topics in down below, and I will try to hit as many of those as I possibly can. And if you guys do submit a super chat or a Streamlabs donation, that link is down below. I will definitely hit those questions because it's the least I can do. And everyone who submits a question, $5 or over when it comes to super chats, you guys get a magical party popper right to your face. All right. So let's dive into it here. The first main topic I feel like we have to talk about is I was watching another YouTuber today by the name of Jeff Russo, and his channel was once called Films at Home, I believe. And I've watched Jeff over the years, and he's a huge physical media advocate, enthusiast, and I try to catch his videos whenever I have time. And this morning, like I typically do when I have the morning to myself, is I was sitting around with my iced coffee, eating my Jimmy Dean's breakfast sandwich, which for some odd reason, no matter how long I microwave that son of a bitch, it's still ice cold in the middle. I've grown to love it, though it's utterly disgusting. But anyway, I was watching his video, and he was talking about movie collecting doesn't feel the same anymore. And boy, it does not. Now, this is nothing new. I feel like I've probably have said this 50,000 times over the last decade. But with every new year that comes, and since we are in 2026, it definitely does feel like these little optical discs are slowly but surely being phased out. Now, that makes me sad inside because I built my entire YouTube career, my entire YouTube channel when it first originated, the Flick Pick channel. It was dedicated not to doing movie reviews. No. It was dedicated to simply talking about movies and physical media that I would pick up. Because for me, movies were never just about making reviews on the movie after I watch it. You know, that's just a byproduct. For me, it was a lifestyle. You know, it was the hunter-gatherer instincts that always kicked in. I wanted to leave the house in the cold, the rain, what have you, and go out amongst the unwashed masses to buy these little optical discs called Blu-rays, DVDs, 4K, UHD, what have you, whatever resolution floats your boat. That's the reason I feel like I started YouTube. Not only do I feel like it, that is the reason I started YouTube. I wanted to go out and find movies and talk about movies and go on something I call flick trips. And If you guys don't know what a Flick Trip is, what are you doing? Go to Google right now and check it out. But it's where I go on these adventures and I search high and low and I look for movies. That's the destination, but sometimes the destination isn't necessary to have a quality, entertaining journey. And I miss those days. Now, when it came to Jeff's video, which I just referenced, he talked about going into Goodwills, and he said the most fascinating physical release that he has found out in the wild, because keep in mind, when you want to buy this shit, you can't find movies in stores anymore unless it's the 4 big new titles that were released that week. And beyond that, it's like catalog titles, you sort of have to go online to buy them anymore. You can't just come across this stuff in a Best Buy, because Best Buy doesn't even carry physical media anymore, which is like, what happened? I never thought I would say that. But that became a harsh reality a couple years ago. Walmart, their movie selection is dwindling by the day. It keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and eventually it's going to go poof, and you're going to go, where the fuck is it? I don't know. And that's where physical media is going. It's going online only, and eventually it's going to be very boutique and very niche. And if I don't own a physical copy of a movie, I don't feel like the movie it doesn't have a special place in my heart if it doesn't have a place on my shelf. That is the best way I can put it. There's tons of movies you can watch on streaming, but there's something about that physical disc, that little optical disc that sits in that awesome case on your shelf. And it's a rainy day and you're in the movie watching mood, and you go to your movie room and you look high and low on the shelf, and you find the one special title. Maybe it's a movie you've been meaning to watch for a long time because no other streaming service has it. And if they do have it, you scroll through that streaming service for an hour and a half looking for a movie to watch, and then you finally land on said movie to watch, and then it's $4.99 to rent it for the day in standard definition. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Amazon Prime, you sons of bitches. But with movies in your collection, you don't have to worry about that. They're always going to be there, wanting, needing you. They're like Andy's toys in Toy Story. They just want to be watched, and I'm willing to do that for them. So I guess my point is, relating to Jeff's video that I watched today, his most treasured physical media find of the last 2 years is when he went into a Goodwill and found some random VHS movie, which you can buy on eBay for like $12. But for him, that was the most exciting physical media pickup he's found in multiple years. And I relate to that. Truly, I relate to that. Because lately, and I've been meaning to kind of elaborate on this for a while now, and I think I'm going to start doing a series. But the series isn't technically going to be a new series. It's just going to be a reimagining. For a while now, I have been going to thrift stores, Goodwills, just any place that sells physical media. Because when you go to these places, you never know what you're going to find. Sometimes it's a lot of crap, and 99.9% of the time when you walk into a Goodwill and look at their physical media selection, it's definitely crap. But every once in a while, you might find something interesting, or at least it's fun to look at the movies. And that's, once again, that's where that hunter-gatherer instinct kicks in. So I think this is an announcement, and it's something I sort of just came up with 10 minutes before going live, but Flick Trips from this point on won't just be going to pick up the new titles at Walmart or going to my local Mega Replay store to look at movies. Yeah, we will go there, and we will go to Walmart occasionally. But I'm going to take you guys into the grime, into the filth, into the bowels of hell. And I'm going to take you guys along with me to thrift stores. That way we can find random movies, talk about them, and maybe some other weird stuff along the way. So I think that's what the new version of Flick Trips are going to be. Because I like going into a store when it comes to movies and never knowing what I'm actually going to find. I think that's half the excitement. You know, if I walk into Walmart, I know what new releases came out today. That's not exciting. And they've had the same 25 movies on their shelf for the last 10 years. They just keep getting new cover art. So I think that's what I'm going to do from now on with Flick Trip videos. I will take you guys into Goodwills, wherever, and we will look at whatever random movies they have on their shelf. And hopefully it's entertaining. That's what I plan on doing in the future. So look out for that. And it kind of, going to these places has sort of reinvigorated my passion for physical media. Because at the heart of what it was always the excitement of going out, going to pawn shops, going to thrift stores. So I think that's what I'm going to do now for the continuation of the Flick Trip series. So if you like that idea, let me know down below. And if you really like it, well, look out for it in the near future. So that's all I have to say about that. Yeah, physical media, man. It's just, I feel like when that truly dies one day, I don't think my passion or love for cinema will die. But man, it's going to be a gut punch to say the least. But I will keep it alive as long as I possibly can. Okay, so those are my thoughts on that. Thrift trips, let's effing go. You got it, man. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about today was I wanted to talk about some of my most anticipated movies of 2026. And I'm not going to go through every single movie coming out this year. I'm just going to hit some of the highlights. And I figured we could talk about it together. So what do you say? We talk about some of the movies I'm looking forward to this upcoming year. And keep in mind, January's over, typically known as the dead zone of cinema. And I will say, when it comes to January, there was a few movies I enjoyed this January month. I did not enjoy Greenland. No, I did not. But I did enjoy 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. I thought that was a good time. I actually think it was better than the 28 Years Later that came out last year. The Rip was atrocious. Did not like it. But I did enjoy Sin Help quite a bit. So for me, of January, Sin Help and 28 Years Later were the best movies of January. But what do you say? We get out of that dead zone of cinema and we move into February, which, sort of even looks more dead when you look at it here. like if you thought January was bad, wait till we dive into February. But at least it's the shortest month of the year, so there's that. So a couple upcoming movies. Now I'm not looking forward to all of these. I'm sort of just talking about a few along the way, and I'll dive into the ones that I really give a shit about. But we have Crime 101 that sort of looks like a made-for-streaming movie starring Chris Hemsworth. You have this Wuthering Heights movie with Margot Robbie. I'm not probably ever going to watch that. The Sheep Detectives. But the one I'm looking forward to at the very end of February is Scream 7. Now, I have not been a big fan of the last couple of Scream movies. I did not think they were good. I would almost go so far as to say I think they were pretty bad. Just the twist and the turns and the lack of nuance or creativity or characters that were compelling. For me, when it comes to the Scream franchise, I love Scream 1. I think that is by far and away one of the best meta horror films of the last 30 years. And I don't feel like it's really ever been topped with any of its predecessors or sequels. I mean, Scream 2 is okay, but it doesn't even shine a light to Scream 1. All right. And keep in mind, a couple years ago, I will insert the picture here, I did get to meet the original cast of Scream. So that was pretty cool. And I did whisper in Matthew Lillard's ear, and I said, "Are you going to be the killer in Scream 7? And he went, "My parents are going to be pissed, man." And then he said, "Yeah." But actually, half of that's a lie. But I did meet them. And I am hoping Stu is the killer or returns in some glorious, bloody fashion in Scream 7. So I'm looking forward to Scream 7. I think the trailer looks good. They got Neve Campbell coming back. So I have some faith that this movie will at least be somewhat entertaining. The next one here is The Bride, which another Frankenstein spin-off movie I will never watch. What is it with what's going on lately? All we get is new Dracula movies and new Frankenstein movies. What is happening? All right. Someone mentioned Primate. I put out a review for Primate here on the live show a couple weeks ago. Was not a big fan of the movie. I like chimpanzees, but that was a boring killer chimpanzee movie. Okay, now we're moving into March now. And when it comes to March movies, Project Hail Mary is not only one of my most anticipated movies of March, it's probably one of my most anticipated movies of the entire year. Now, let's back up about 5-6 months ago. I read the novel Project Hail Mary by the same author of, he also wrote The Martian, which was later adapted into a film directed by Ridley Scott. Quite enjoyed that. But if you want a space sci-fi epic adventure with a lot of twists, a lot of turns, and some very surprising but lovable characters along the way, Project Hail Mary gave me all of those things. And I will probably say it's one of the best novels I've ever read in my entire life. It might just be my favorite novel I've ever read in my entire life. But Project Hail Mary is a movie I'm really looking forward to. It's directed by Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, stars Ryan Gosling, and I hope this movie does the novel justice. I really do, because it is so fascinating, and this adventure in space where they travel light years to save planet Earth, where it's all based in science to a believable degree, but it does have a lot of fictional fun. Can't recommend it enough. Can't wait to watch it. Okay, the next one is Ready or Not 2. I didn't see Ready or Not 1. And then in April, we have the Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's me, Chris Pratt, doing an Italian accent. Listen, I like Mario. I do enjoy the games quite a bit. I like the character. I like the lore. And Super Mario World is probably, if not my favorite game I've ever played in my entire life. And when I'm having a bad day, and I've had many of bad days over the last 4 or 5 years, I'll tell you what evens me out. It makes me feel so alive and like a kid again, and just makes me forget about the harsh realities of this thing that we call life. And that is playing Super Mario World on my classic SNES. It just takes me to a happy place. And if I'm really in the mood to beat the game in 12 minutes, I'll just go through Star World. But anyway, Super Mario Galaxy movie, when it comes to the first one a couple years ago, they just feel like they're not quite what I want them to be. They just feel like pulp culture IP vomit to some degree. But I will watch this movie. But I don't know. I always have this guilty pleasure love for the shitty live action Super Mario Bros. Movie from 1992 starring John Leguizamo. What is this, a giant booga or something? Where it doesn't really look like a Mario Brothers movie, but I like it and for all the wrong reasons. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Now, have you guys seen the trailer to this? No? Okay, so I was sort of looking forward to this because I was like, hey, I love The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. I even like part 2 of that with the shitty Scorpion King with the PS2 CGI graphics when The Rock turns into a giant scorpion. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But I like those movies. And when they said they were sort of rebooting that and going a more darker, sinister approach to it, I was like, okay, I think the Mummy concept can lend itself to that. I like the classic monster genre. But then you watch the trailer for this movie, and it just looks like a movie that costs $23 that should be crapped out on Shudder, that you would watch at 3 o'clock in the morning and then fall asleep and never finish it the next day. This does not look very good, and I was hoping it would. So not one of my most anticipated movies of the year. There was another movie coming out called Apex with Charlize Theron. I don't know much about it. But the next one here is the new Michael Jackson biopic. Now, we just got a trailer for this the other day. And I thought the trailer was pretty good. You know, I think if you're a fan of Michael Jackson and you want to celebrate his music in sort of a glossy PG-13 biopic that's not going to go too far into the dark nitty-gritty of his life and probably the childhood trauma and some of the questionable stuff that he did later on in life. It's not going to delve into that at all. It's going to be a bit surface level, but I think the thing that it's going to do is definitely recreate some of the magic of his music. And when it comes to Michael Jackson, he is truly fascinating. But my favorite thing about Michael Jackson was his music. I mean, he is the king of pop. Say what you will, he simply is. And he made super awesome, badass music, which is some of the catchiest shit I've ever heard in my life. So I'm definitely going to check out the Michael Jackson biopic. I just have a feeling it's going to be very surface level and very glossy, much like the Bohemian Rhapsody biopic was. Like, there's a lot of stuff you could talk about when it comes to Freddie Mercury, and maybe that would sort of take away from the celebration of his music, you know, when he's in a men's bathhouse in New York or something, you know. But But I'm looking forward to the movie nevertheless. I am super curious on the performance of Jafar Jackson doing his best impression of Michael Jackson in this film. I mean, the voice sounds on par. At certain angles, when you squint your eyes, he does sort of look like Michael Jackson. So, but in all fairness, there's not many people who could probably get away with playing a live action Michael Jackson. All right, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, the next one is Devil Wears Prada 2. I watched the first one once. It was okay. I'll probably watch the second one, but who cares? All right, the next one I want to talk about here is Mortal Kombat 2. Get over here! And please make a good movie, or else just finish this franchise with an uppercut to the pits down below. Now, when it comes to that first Mortal Kombat movie, not the glorious Mortal Kombat movie from 1995, which I still say is the best video game movie ever made, and it gave me everything I needed back when I was a 10-year-old boy in 1995. And but as far as that other Mortal Kombat movie that we got a couple years ago, that was crapped out onto HBO Max, I think it didn't quite give me what I wanted as an MK fan. You know, it introduced a main character that had no lore, and that was really disappointing because when you go to the Mortal Kombat franchise, there's like 700 characters you could tell a story about. But they didn't do that in the last movie. They just had some guy named Cole who was generic player one, and we were supposed to care about him fighting Goro in some guy's garage in his backyard. A little bit anticlimactic to say the least. But this new Mortal Kombat movie, I have some faith because it's following Johnny Cage. And also you have Carl Urban playing Johnny Cage, which, good casting, good character, and maybe it'll be the new Mortal Kombat movie that overshadows that original 1995 film. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think you can top the techno theme song, though. No how, no way. Okay, the next one I want to talk about here is Star Wars, Mandalorian, and Grogu. Now, let me take a sip of this caffeinated beverage. Now, I like season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian. I think they're fine entertainment. And there's definitely some episodes I love. Now, some of the later stuff with Mandalorian, and little baby Grogu, who doesn't like little baby Grogu, right? He was made to sell plushies, and that's what he does. But when it comes to this movie, this to me just looks like something that should have been made for Disney Plus. Like the vibe of it, the tone, even the CGI and the look of it, that very dull Disney Plus look that color grading that they give all of their Star Wars properties. I don't know what it is. Like they're afraid of contrast. But I will watch this. But it just looks like it should just be 3 episodes of Mandalorian. Sparse it out and put it in the new season. I don't know if this justifies a theater experience. But then again, when it comes to Star Wars and Disney, well, they're sort of hanging on for dear life. So they'll probably crap out anything they can at this point. The next one I want to talk about here is Masters of the Universe. I did a trailer reaction for this on the last live show. And for me, this sort of looks like Thor Ragnarok. Like, it just looks like Thor Ragnarok. But that's okay. That's okay because if the new He-Man movie, Masters of the Universe, borrow that Thor Ragnarok vibe, where it's a little bit meta and kind of fun, and they poke fun at all the cheesy elements, but still give you awesome characters and action sequences, but it knows what it is. I really feel like that's the right direction to go with a Masters of the Universe movie. And if for nothing else, there is no way, no how, that this can be any worse than the Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe that looks like it was a made-for-TV movie. Also, this sort of reminds me of that Dungeons and Dragons movie that we got a couple years ago with Chris Pine, where it has this fantasy, this lore, but it's also sort of meta and aware of what it is. And I think that's sort of the tone to go with this. You got to make it a comedy that pays tribute to the IP. All right, the next one I want to talk about here is Disclosure Day, directed by Steven Spielberg. Now, it's been a while since I've been truly excited about a Steven Spielberg movie, and he is a master craftsman filmmaker. I mean, he's made some of my favorite movies of all time. I just watched Jurassic Park a couple weeks ago, and that shit still lives up. And by the way, speaking of Jurassic Park, did you guys see that new trailer where they basically did like a Jurassic Park parody and they de-aged everyone with like a really weird de-aging process that like they still looked old, like they had like a double chin, but their face was all digitally smoothed out. Anyway, I won't get into the details of that, but I still liked it. But when it comes to Disclosure Day, it's an alien invasion movie to some degree, and the biggest question is, will we see aliens? Or my theory is, we are the aliens, and now we're finding out about it. Dun dun dun! Just putting it out there. So I'm looking forward to that from Spielberg. Hopefully Spielberg is back. All right, we talked about Ghostface earlier with Scream 7. But the next movie I'm going to talk about here in 2026 is Scary Movie 6, coming out June 12th. Now, it's been a while since I've enjoyed a scary movie. I will say Scary Movie 2 to me was by far the best because you had what was his name? Handsome. Oh, let me use my strong hand, child. Ooh, you make mashed potatoes and you stick it in there like that, and poke it like that, and then you stuff in the turkey, you gobble it like that. The funniest movie character of all time. I don't care what anyone says, that is the funniest movie character ever presented on film. But anyway, I'm kind of looking forward to Scary Movie 6, but we shall see. Okay, and by the way, on a side note, did you know originally Scream was supposed to be called Scary Movie, not Scream? And then they later made the Scary Movie parody franchise called Scary Movie. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about here is Toy Story 5, because you still got a friend in me. But we're Andy's toys! Someone poisoned the water hole! Now, I was not a huge fan of Toy Story 4. I thought it was like the weakest of the franchise. But I love me some Toy Story. Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, which I did show my wife because she forgot everything about it. We watched it a couple months ago. And that scene where the toys are accepting their fate and going down that incinerator and holding hands, oh, that put a lump in my throat. But also the ending scene where Andy has one last playtime with his toys before he finally lets go of his childhood innocence and moves on. That still makes me sad. And that entire scene where Andy plays with his toys and says goodbye, it reminded me of the ending of Stranger Things. Kind of the exact same similar theme and vibe. But anyway, I'm looking forward to Toy Story 5. As long as it's better than Toy Story 4, I will be happy. And the fact that it's focusing on iPad kids and every little kid having extreme ADHD at this point in society, I think that'll be a fascinating concept as well. Okay, the next one we have to talk about here is Supergirl, coming out June 26th. I'll watch it. You know, I like me some Millie Alcock. But it's not like the go-to blockbuster movie of the summer for me. Jason Momoa as Lobo looks kind of cool. I'm sure it'll be a fine, entertaining movie to watch at the drive-in. And that's probably where I'm going to savor that flavor. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, the next one I want to talk about here is Jackass 5. Now, I'm a huge fan of Jackass. Now, the last Jackass movie I thought was a little bit lame, especially when they introduced new cast members. It felt disingenuous to me. It's like, here's this hired guy to fall down. It's like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the original Jackass crew doing weird, crazy shit and defying gravity and falling down and hitting themselves in the face or getting nut shots or smelling each other's farts. That's what Jackass is to me and will always be. So I am kind of looking forward to this. It has Johnny Knoxville coming back. I'm not sure. I don't think Bam Margera is coming back. He was always sort of my favorite cast member of Jackass. If you're a fan of the original CKY videos, and that was pre-Jackass days. That was the original Jackass. But I'll check it out. My number one most anticipated movie of 2026 is Minions 3, though. I'm lying to you. It's actually the live action Moana. No, I'm still lying to you. I am curious to see The Rock wearing a big prosthetic muscle suit, though, in this. No. Let's go to the next one here. And The Odyssey is probably going to be my most anticipated theater-going experience of the summer. Today, we got some rumors on who might play Helen of Troy. That's interesting. We won't dive too far into that because it hasn't been confirmed yet. But when it comes to Nolan movies, there's a lot I love. There's a lot that I think are okay. And there's a few that I am not a fan of at all. I'm talking to you, Tenet. I'm talking to you. But I am looking forward to the Odyssey, the Homer's poem. I love this ancient time period-esque vibe of cinema. I love a good sword and sandals flick. And I just watched Troy last night for like the 78th time. And damn, it still holds up. Like they could not make a movie like Troy today if they tried. And when that movie came out originally, it had like mediocre reviews. And I feel like if a movie like Troy came out today, it would blow people's hair back and they'd give it like an A+. Because I've seen some of the movies people give 10 out of 10s to, and it's like, yeah, that's a DVD movie at best. But when it comes to the Odyssey, hey, we're going to have 70 millimeter IMAX sequences, an awesome score. Hopefully Nolan does this film justice. You got Matt Damon playing Odysseus. So can't wait to check it out. Hopefully it lives up to the hype and it looks badass on IMAX. All right, speaking of big epic summer movies, and movies starring Tom Holland, who is also in the Odyssey, let's talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day, which we haven't even gotten a trailer for yet, and the movie comes out in 5 months. Maybe we'll get one for Super Bowl. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to the new Spider-Man flick. And what gets me most excited about this new Spider-Man movie is it's sort of like a reboot of this incarnation of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. You know, I'm hoping they do it. But we don't know for sure. With the previous incarnation of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, it was so ingrained in the multiverse and all the MCU characters, and it just felt so convoluted. I just want a simplistic Spider-Man movie at the street level where he's fighting Spider-Man villains and foes in New York City, saving the day. I don't need Doctor Strange to show up and Tony Stark, and I don't need all this other nonsensical shit happening in my Spider-Man movie. Just give me a Spider-Man movie and I'll be happy. That's all we want. So when it comes to Spider-Man No Way Home, we sort of left off with that. All of humanity is now brainwashed. Who's Peter Parker? Who's Spider-Man? I don't know. So now Spider-Man is starting back from square one. He's living in a shitty apartment. He's making his outfit again. He doesn't have Stark tech. And I'm hoping the movie just focuses on that and just goes with it. And that would be an awesome Spider-Man movie because I think Tom Holland's a great Peter Parker. I think he looks the part. He's physical. I think he's a good Spider-Man movie. I can't really imagine anyone else playing the character right now. So the fact that they might be rebooting this and sort of doing a soft reboot, that gets me excited, and I'm hoping that's what it is. I've heard rumors that the villain will be Tombstone, and then you have Zadie Sink in the movie. Is she playing MJ? Is she playing Spider-Girl? I don't know. Who knows? The next one we're going to talk about here is we got the Clayface movie. The next one we'll talk about is Clayface. Now, Clayface is being made because Joker, the first Joker, we're not talking about the musical version with Lady Gaga. No. We'll pretend like that movie doesn't exist. But when it comes to the R-rated, based on a comic book character, Joker, Joaquin Phoenix from 2019, that movie made over $1 billion. And it deserved to make over $1 billion because they did everything right with that movie. They took an IP character and gave you a real film that sort of made you forget that you were just watching like a comic book character. It gave you world building. It gave you a character study. And I feel like if they can duplicate that same magic with something like Clayface, which the character of Clayface can be truly fascinating with a dark tale behind it. Talk about a guy with body dysmorphia trying to be an actor who has disfigurement issues. That lends itself to being an awesome character study. So I'm looking forward to Clayface. Okay, the next one I want to talk about here is going to be, I don't even know what that is. Digger with Tom Cruise, could not tell you what that is. The next one I want to talk about here is Street Fighter, coming out in October next year, or this year. And I'm sort of looking forward to this new Street Fighter movie. And this looks to me like it's going to have that self-aware tone, much like every other movie based on like a video game or an IP from the 80s or what have you. It feels like all those IP movies now have this new tone where they don't take themselves too serious and they have some fun with the concept and have a little bit of self-awareness. Now, you can go too far with that, but I feel like with Street Fighter, as long as you have the characters, and judging by the trailer, I'm just happy that the characters look like the characters, they sound like the characters, and that's step number one. But step number two is just give me a somewhat competent movie with some cool fighting scenes, and I'll be happy. Also, Jason Momoa plays Blanca, and Cody Rhodes from WWE plays Guile. But hey, I'm okay with those casting choices. You got a Cat in a Hat movie there. Then we have Godzilla Minus Zero coming out next November. I was a big fan of Godzilla, the Godzilla Minus One. Sorry, that took a lot of energy from my brain to get out. So hey, I'll check out the big Godzilla monster kaiju movie. Hopefully, it's just as good as the first one, and I will be happy with it. I'm glad we're getting these simplistic Godzilla movies, because these like bloated, junky ones that Warner Brothers was crapping out for like the last 5 years. You had the one Godzilla, then the other Godzilla movie where in the first 5 minutes you had like King Kong and he puked up some green CGI vomit that looked like it belonged in a video game cutscene. Like I'm not a fan of those movies. Those just look like junk to me. They're just bad, bloated junk. But I like the simplicity of these older, these other Godzilla movies that take place in the 1940s time period. To me, that's like where Godzilla is more special and where Godzilla belongs. So I'm looking forward to it. Then we have the Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping. When it comes to the Hunger Game movies, I think like the first one or two are okay. I've never been a big fan of the Hunger Games movies. But when it comes to this new one, I kind of like the way it looks more than the previous installments in the franchise. Just like the scope of it looks better to me. It looks well crafted and more cinematic. Like those earlier Hunger Game movies, the way that they were shot, it just didn't look like they had enough money to do what they wanted to. And I didn't like some of the shaky cam stuff that was going on. But anyway, kind of looking forward to it. The next one, we got Jumanji 3 coming out. Yeah, I don't care either. The next one is, we got to talk about it. It's Avengers Doomsday, coming out December 18th. Now, obviously, I'm a huge fan of most MCU movies. I think the last phase or two of the MCU sort of was a letdown, but I am looking forward to Avengers Doomsday because you have the Russo brothers coming back. You have the original cast coming back. And I feel like as long as they focus on characters and setting up the X-Men and Doctor Doom and give me all those glorious things culminating into one big action spectacle blockbuster movie, I will be content. I'm really curious to see what they do with this. I have some theories, but I don't want to dive into all of those right now for the sake of the how long we've already been talking, but I'm looking forward to Avengers Doomsday. I'm sure you probably are too. I mean, even if you hate most MCU movies, you got to check out the new Avengers movies, right? That's and the fact that they have all the original cast members, which were the best part of the MCU coming back, it's okay, I have confidence in this to some degree. If you can't have Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man, well, just bring him back to play Doctor Doom. So be it. All right, the next one I want to talk about here, and this will be the last one on my most anticipated movies of 2026, is Dune Messiah, starring Timothée Chalamet. Hey, listen, I think watching the second Dune movie a couple years ago, it made me like the first Dune movie even more. I'm not talking about the 1980s Dune movie. That sucks. I've tried to watch that movie 5 times over the last 20 years, and I can never get through it. No matter how hard I try, I cannot get through that shit. But I'm looking forward to Dune Messiah. I like Dune 2 quite a bit. And it's sort of just a fascinating fictional sci-fi universe. And once you kind of understand the lore and the logic behind it, it definitely does make it a bit better. And going into it fresh the first time, I didn't know all of that. So I was a bit confused on some aspects, but I still enjoyed the visuals and the spectacle of it. But I'm definitely looking forward to doing Messiah. So anyway, guys, those are some of my most anticipated movies of 2026. If you have any down below, please share those down below and let me know what your most anticipated movies of 2026 are. Okay. Woo! All right, what do you guys say? We just dive into the questions here. And sorry if that took too long. I wasn't even going to talk about any of those things, but I just felt like we should. So, Dune is so boring. I almost agree with you on the first Dune movie being kind of boring, but I feel like the second Dune movie, I think, gets it right. It's definitely a slow burn, but man, the first movie sort of felt like it was dragged out, but the second movie you get more payoff and more of those like epic moments, like surfing on the sandworm. All right, let's scroll back here. We got some questions. Here we go. And by the way, once again, Patrice Chaswick, thank you for your glorious question during the beginning of the live show. We got Uranium Cranium in here who says Chris Elliott. What is Chris Elliott? Give me details. Okay, all right. The next question comes from King Chaos 7061, who says, just watched a movie I think you'd enjoy. It's a darker version of Stand By Me called Mean Creek. Rory Culkin and Josh Peck about a prank gone wrong. Dude, I've watched the first 20 minutes of that movie and I have not finished it. That was like a year ago. I think I started it. Now, I didn't stop it because it was bad. I think I just was tired or fell asleep or something. I have heard great things about that movie for a long time. I will watch it at some point. I like sort of those darker movies like that where something goes wrong and it's sort of like movies like River's Edge. It sort of has the same vibe in a way. But I will eventually watch Mean Creek, man. And thank you for the question, King Chaos. You get a party popper. All right, the next one comes from Martin Valuke 3951, who says, John, I have to admit that your new intro made my bone temple tingle. If you know what I mean. Insert Topher Grace, raised eyebrow, but no homo. Oh, but give me a little homo. I don't mind, man. That's okay by me. Just the tip just for a second, as long as we don't tell anyone about it. No, thank you for that. Thank you so much. So the new intro to the live stream, thank you so much for that. I was actually working on that today. And you know what? I was like, listen, the intro for the live stream needs to be badass. It needs to be epic. It needs to represent who I am and my personality. And I'm like, I need some upbeat 80s rock, and I searched high and low for that music. And I had to buy the rights to that song so I could legally use it on YouTube. And then I tweaked it a little bit, and I made the graphics for the parody version of the Fox movie theme intro. So thank you for that. I worked really hard on that intro today. And would you guys like to watch the intro one more time? I'll show it real quick. Here's the music we're talking about right here. Are you ready for it? Here it goes. So anyway, if you want a full blast of that, just scroll back to the beginning of the live show. But thanks for that, man. It does mean a lot. And also, Martin, you get a party popper. Okay, the next one comes from Andy Kumar, who says, have you ever dated a black chick? Why not? Who's to say I haven't? I did go on a date with a girl who was mixed once on Tinder back in 2018, 2017. Really nice. I would almost, to be honest with you, she almost had like, sort of like like if you squint, almost like a Zendaya vibe, just ever so slightly. All right. The next one comes from Lee B. Films, who says, "Hey, John, glad to catch the live. Can you tell your wife that in Harry Potter Half-Blood Prince, Harry and Jeannie Quidrich Jersey are 6 and 7 since she hates 6 and 7 memes and loves Harry Potter." Okay. Sorry. It took me I'm sorry I read that like I was having a stroke. The way the text was jumbled together right there, for some odd reason, I could not decipher it. I will tell her that. 6, 7. Yeah, she hates it. My wife is a teacher, and she teaches 5-year-olds. And they love saying 6, 7. And whenever you say it, even if it accidentally happens somehow, some way, it makes her cringe. But anyway, thank you so much, Lee B, for the question, and I will let her know. Okay, the next one comes from Robert Giacinta, 6323. Here it goes. And how you doing, Robert? Thank you so much for joining me. Made over $100,000 in profit selling mainly DVDs, Blu-rays, and even VHSs from thrift stores and flea markets are great spots to look. Also, Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, man. I go to all those places, and this spring I definitely want to hit up some flea markets. And it's just fun, you know? You never know what you're going to find. You can find I'm always on the lookout for out-of-print Blu-rays or DVDs, anything that's interesting. So we'll definitely make it happen in upcoming Flick Trips. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, how can I make Flick Trips fun and exciting again? It's like, listen, the player didn't change. The game did, okay? And I need to get back into action. So I'll definitely hit some of those spots up sooner than later, but thanks for the question, man. And every once in a while, if I find something like I don't want that's out of print on DVD, I do list that shit on eBay. I do. It's kind of like a little hobby. It pays for the gas to go hunting. You know, that's my motto. All right. Murph MM says you should go to the Elvis documentary coming out in February. Listen, I like me some Elvis. I've never been a big fan of it. You know, the last time that I was inundated with something with Elvis in a theater, it was the Austin Butler Elvis movie, which I thought was just okay at best. As far as the documentary goes, I feel like I've seen so many documentaries about Elvis over the years. Are they going to have anything new to say? I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it. Will Rick Grimes really return to Avengers Doomsday? I hope so. Carl, we gotta go. All right. The next one comes from already answered that. Okay, here we go. Ooh, here it is. Claudio Rogajon in the house, everybody. Here it goes, baby. Claudio, how you doing tonight, man? You missed the last live stream, and I will never forgive you for that. But anyway, didn't figure you for much of a reader, John. Well, obviously, judging by how I dyslexic-y, I'll read your comments backwards, I'm not. But anyway, John, considering years ago you said it would take you about 2 years to read the first Jurassic Park book, does a book really have to grab you for you to read it? It's got to grab me in all the right places, Claudio, in all the right places. Now, here's my thing when it comes to books. I get really picky. And when books start just becoming diatribes of like just they feel like run-on sentences on top of run-on sentences, where the writer's just so in love with using a thesaurus of different words for the sake of just using different words that make them sound so smart, but really it comes across like they're a pseudo intellectual. When I start reading a novel like that does not hook me in the first like 3 to 4 chapters, I'm like, I just can't. This is draining to me. I can't read this shit. So yeah, I am a really picky guy when it comes to novels. And like, I'm telling you, my wife and I have looked for the perfect novel or audiobook to listen to, and it takes like a month to find one. And then we get like an hour into it and I'm like, this is not good. Like, if this was made into a movie, this would be like a made for DVD movie in the $5 Walmart bin. I'm like, what is this? Like, why can't I just want epic sci-fi adventure novels that still have a place in like a version of reality that don't go too fantastical. And I know that's a very slim genre to look out for, but that's what I want. I want more novels like Project Hail Mary. Really, that's what I'm getting to here. Best Margaret Qualley movie? Oh, probably why can I not remember the name of this? Why can I not remember the name of this movie? The Substance. Oh my gosh. I was like, it was like my favorite movie of the year. Yeah, The Substance. I could not remember the title of that. I was like, I knew it was Substance or like, anyway, it's been a long day. Probably The Substance, but she does have there is a series on Netflix called The Maid starring Margaret Qualley. And, I liked it quite a bit. I hear you, man. I'm picky with books too. Get it? Picky? No, I see myself out. Yeah, man, you gotta be, I don't know if you're gonna dedicate that much time to something, it's gotta be good. Like, you can watch a mediocre movie, it's over in 2 hours. Fine, so be it. But if I pick up a mediocre book and it takes me 15 hours to read that shit, nah. It better be like Lord of the Rings. We got one here from Murph, mainly just concert footage. That Austin Butler movie did suck though. Yeah, I guess I just don't need concert footage of Elvis. I'm not that big of a fan. Did you ever get your cold caffeinated beverage, John? Yes, I do. I have my cold caffeinated beverage right here. It's a Reign Orange Dreamsicle. It's okay. It's okay. But thank you. Okay, the next one comes from Aaron Papart. How's it going, Aaron? Hey, John. My feature film will finally be on streaming next week. Would love if you watched it. My movie is an ensemble. What's your favorite ensemble movies? What are some of my favorite ensemble movies? Oh, man. I mean, you could pick just about any Tarantino movie. I guess you could go with that. That's starting out with. I always go to like something grittier and darker. Like, I think of like Boogie Nights, for example. I don't know why. I've been meaning to watch that again. I have it on 4K now. But as far as your movie goes, man, send me a link to watch it. Let me know. Good luck with it. I'll check it out if I can watch it. Send me a link. DM me a link or tweet me something or tag me on Twitter, man, or X, whatever people call it nowadays. Yeah, Django Unchained. I'd go with that. I'd go with Pulp Fiction. I'd go with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Someone said Tropic Thunder. Okay, the next one comes from James Dosher, who says, Hey, John. What are your thoughts on the first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies? I enjoyed all three of them, even though the first one is clearly the best one. Davy Jones, to me, is what makes the second and third movie watchable and fun, plus his CGI is amazing. Yeah, let's talk about Davy Jones' CGI and how it's not been topped since 2007. Let's just look at this gloriousness right here. I mean, look at those tentacles, man. They look wet and juicy, and they just look like a good time, if you know what I mean. Yeah, look at that CGI. This is from 20 years ago. And this looks better than 99.9% of the CG we get nowadays. Why? Because they used to care. This was at a time when movies would come out and people, when it came to CGI, would expect photorealistic CGI. And now people just expect CGI to look like CGI. And we suspend our disbelief and just go, yeah, it's mediocre and I'll still watch it. But then again, so is the movie with this mediocre CGI, so I guess it all evens out in the end. But they used to have to make things look good, or else people did not like it. Like when it comes to the Scorpion King. Let's look at this real quick. Scorpion King, The Rock. Ah! Ah! Now look at that. Now, when this came out in the early 2000s, people shit on this hard, and as they should. But I'm telling you right now, I feel like some Netflix movies could get away with this, and people would be like, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, but I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Anyway. When it comes to the first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I love the first one. I think that is a fun swashbuckling time. I think Johnny Depp becomes the character Jack Sparrow, this drunk pirate who's a little touchy, and I like it. The second one to me was okay. And then the third one to me was where it got a bit bloated and tiresome to watch. And some of that magic and some of that charm was a bit lost. Like, the best way I can put it is the first Pirates of the Caribbean had the perfect balance of being this like big blockbuster, over the top action pirate movie, right? And then with the later installments, it started like that balancing act sort of started to tilt where the story got worse. The bombastic action got more mediocre. And I just didn't care as much by the point Keira Knightley became one of the pirates. And I just remember the one scene where they're all going in this like swirling ocean funnel, and they all have pirate ships and they're all shooting at each other. And like, I'm just like, oh my God. And then the one lady she turned into a giant and then turned into crabs and exploded. And I was like, this, it's done. We're done. The lore has gone too far and I just don't care anymore. But the first one by far and away is the best. And they got too long. So long. Why are these Pirates of the Caribbean blockbuster movies 3 hours? This ain't Lord of the Rings, man. Come on. I'm looking at Orlando Bloom and his pirate daddy. First one was great. Second one, I'm checking my watch. Third one, I don't even remember. I think that sums it up. That's kind of how I feel. The water tornado, whatever it was a giant toilet with the franchise being flushed down it. That's what it was to me. Let's go to the next question. And the next one comes from James Doshier, who says, do you watch Joe Rogan? I don't necessarily watch Joe Rogan, but I do occasionally listen to Joe Rogan. Yes, I do. It depends on the guest, though, on the Joe Rogan podcast. Like, if he has an interesting guest, like someone I care about their insights, or like if it's a director or even an athlete or a scientist. I find a lot of the Joe Rogan episodes with like a comedian, I want something a bit more nuanced here. I want some like information presented to me that I don't already know. So I don't typically listen to like the comedian ones. But I think some of them are interesting depending on the guest. And I typically, to be completely honest with you, I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast a bit more in the summertime. And let me explain why. There's a good reason for it. I get most of my podcasts listening in while I'm on my riding lawnmower cutting my grass. And it's currently wintertime, and I have 3 feet of snow outside because I live in the desolate wastelands of Indiana. But as soon as it's lawn mowing season, once again, I will probably listen to his podcast. But to be honest with you, I kind of listen to more like wrestling podcasts. That's how much of a weird nerd I am. There's not a lot of great movie podcasts that exist. Or at least I haven't discovered a lot of them. All right. Let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Crystal Kingdoms TCG. How's it going, Crystal Kingdoms? How are you today? All right. Let's dive into the question here. And the question is, hello, John. My wife and I made our own trading card game this past year. We'd love to send you some packs and sponsor a live stream where you rip some packs. The game is called Battle of the Crystal Kingdoms. That's cool, man. That's awesome. Send me an email. Let me know. Let me check it out. What's going on with that? I'll open some shit up on the live show. Absolutely. Yes. Can you send me an email? My email address is attached to my channel. You just find that. Send me an email. Let me know. Show me what you got, man. Sounds cool. Thanks for the question. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Libby Films. How's it going, Libby Films? Who says, rank my pickup, line my name. Wait. Okay, sorry. Rank my pickups. My name is Lee, and I like to party. Wait, what am I doing? Oh, rank my pickup lines. Okay. There was no plural in line, so you got to understand. My brain can only process so much at once. Here it goes. Rank my pickup lines. My name is Lee, and I like to party. Also, would you rather have Stifler or John Cena play you in a biopic? What? What? Here, rank my party popper. My name is Lee, and I like to party. I don't know if that's one of the best pick. Here's a pickup line for you. Hey, baby, I'm going to treat you like my little toe. I'm going to bang you on every piece of furniture in this house. How's that for a pickup line? Or is that too aggressive for 2026? Is that too aggressive? Okay, sorry. Let me calm down. All right. Would I rather have Sean William Scott or John Cena play me in a biopic? I think Sean William Scott would be a good casting choice. I do. I really do. Like, let's take a look at Sean William Scott here. Now, he's probably a little too old now, but if you could go back to like mid-2000s Sean William Scott, you know, hey, fuckface, like, I think that'd be a good casting choice, don't you? If they ever made a biopic about a B-rate YouTuber who occasionally makes videos, yeah, I think that'd be good. I'd watch it. All right. Uranium Cranium says, pickup line, hi, I am very wealthy. Yeah, that's usually, hi, I have a Ferrari. That's all you need. All right. Let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Tyler Brusso. How's it going, Tyler, man? I've been seeing your comments down over here in the normal chat. I'm keeping up with what you're putting down. Any chance we can any chance that we can bring back Pick the Flick? You know what? I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what, Tyler, since you've been so active in the chat, I will play one and only one Pick the Flick right now with you, Tyler. So right now, Tyler, in the normal chat, you tell me which row and how many movies from the right I have to pick. So it goes starting at the bottom here, row 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then you have to say how many movies in from that row I have to pick the movie. So if it's like row 2, 25 movies in, it'll probably be like that movie right there. So Tyler, you get to pick the flick. Hurry up. Which row and how many over? If you guys don't know what pick the flick is, I'm going to give you a shining example right now. It even has an intro, and this intro costs $7,000. So Tyler, okay, we got one here. But first, let's play the intro. You guys ready? Here it goes. Pick the flick. Yay! You're lucky I'm wearing pants today, Tyler. Okay. Tyler says row 2, 4 over. I can do that. Hang on. Well, your pick today is Inglourious Bastards from the Magical Movie Shelf, Tyler. A phenomenal movie. I feel like, do I own this on 4K? I don't think, do I own one? I don't know if someone tell me if I own this on 4K. I don't know. Now, here's the thing about Inglourious Bastards. Okay, I enjoy this movie. I really like it. I do. But it's not one of my favorite Tarantino movies. I know, maybe that's weird. Maybe that's like an unpopular opinion, but I just, like, it's not one of my favorites. And everything about it, you would read it on paper, like the synopsis, the summary of the movie, I would think it would be. But it's, for some reason, it's not one of my favorites. But it's a damn good movie. So there you go, Tyler. We played the game. Yeah, I just like Django Unchained, or like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or when it comes to Tarantino movies, The Hateful Eight. I like all three of those more than Inglourious Bastards, and I know a lot of people might disagree with that, and that's okay. My thoughts on the Epstein files. I don't know what's true and what's not. I've read a little bit about them online. The truth is, I don't know. I can only imagine what we know is only the tip of the iceberg, and that is it. Who knows how deep this conspiracy theory goes? Do I think some political people at power and politicians are basically getting away with crimes against humanity? Yes. Do I think Jeffrey Epstein was murdered in his jail cell? Yes. Do I think it's very coincidental that 1 minute and 23 seconds of video surveillance of his prison cell was deleted, and that's a little bit dubious? Yes. But do I just safely assume everyone in a political position of power is corrupt and seedy? Yes. So there's that. But the truth is, we'll never really know the truth. They'll show you just enough to go to make you shut up, but we don't know anything really. I mean, they haven't released anything that I feel like I don't already know. But there's a lot of weird emails where they reference pizza quite a bit. So there's that. All right, let's keep going here. The next one comes from Jeffrey Epstein. They killed me, John. Here's $2. I'm kidding. He did not chime in. Let's see. Okay, the next one comes from Cup of Joe Media 7678. How's it going, Cup of Joe Media? And thank you for the question. You get a party popper. 3, 2, 1. Here it goes. Robert Eggers' Werewolf, Ridley Scott's The Dog, Star Wars are some films to look out for also. Nicholas Winding Refn is back this year. Time to break out the jacket. Also, J.J. Abrams has a new film. Yes, did I forget to mention some of those movies? Sorry, I just went with a list that was on Rotten Tomatoes. Because every other list I could find of every movie coming out this year was like 700 movies, and I didn't want to weed through all of it. But Robert Eggers, is Werewolf coming out is it coming out this year? Yeah, Christmas Day next year. Yeah, listen, I will definitely check out a Robert Eggers movie. I don't love all of them, but I will definitely check them out. Ridley Scott's The Dog stars? What is that? What is Ridley Scott the Dog Stars? Here, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. Survivors of a deadly pandemic traverse a post-apocalyptic landscape to find the origin of a mysterious radio transmission. That sounds kind of cool. Comes out August 2026. Okay. That sounds cool. It's got Josh Brolin in it. Does that have Amber Heard in it? Oh no, that's Margaret Qualley. Oh my God. Does she look like Amber Heard? Doesn't that kind of look like Amber Heard if you squint? Okay, that sounds cool as well. What else did you say here? What is the new Nicholas Winding Refn movie? But anyway, yeah, those both sound really cool. So, and I definitely will break out the Drive jacket any chance I get. What is the new J.J. Abrams movie? New J.J. Abrams movie. What do we got here? The Great Beyond. What is this about? A mysterious science fantasy adventure starring Glenn Powell, Jenna Ortega, Emma, who cares? Samuel L. Jackson's in it. All right. Scheduled for release by Warner Brothers November 13th, 2026. No plot details yet. Interesting. Okay. Hey, those sound cool to me. I love science fiction movies, so those sound pretty cool. Listen, when it comes to J.J. Abrams, like, I'm hoping he redeems himself after that Rise of Skywalker bullshit. So, hey, hopefully it's good. But thanks for the question, man. Okay, the next one comes from Libby Films, who says, I'm excited for Zach Krager's Resident Evil, Trey Parker Kendrick Lamar musical, Brad Bird's new movie, James Wan's Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah, Creature from the Black Lagoon from James Wan. I don't know a lot about it. That's pretty much all I've heard about it thus far. I don't think there's a lot of details released. I think Creature from the Black Lagoon could lend itself to be a really thrilling horror film. Like, the things that you can do with him, like swimming underwater and just the aquatic-esque vibes and elements that you could have in that movie. It's just something different. It's like, imagine if you could make Jaws, but Jaws could walk on land as well. Give me that movie. But that sounds kind of cool. What else did you say here? The new Resident Evil movie, yeah, hopefully it's good. I'm hoping they finally get the tone of Resident Evil right, because the last 25 Resident Evil movies I thought were just dog shit. What's the new Brad Bird movie? I don't know what that is. But anyway, Libby, thanks for the question once again, man. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies are pretty good, though. The first one and the second one, those are good, yes. I love Star Trek 2008, 2009. I love that movie quite a bit. I thought the casting choices of Zachary Quinto and Chris Pine as Spock and Captain Kirk, that took some brain processing power right there. I thought that duo was phenomenal. Like, to me, it made me care about Star Trek. And I was one of those guys who didn't really ever give a shit about Star Trek, but I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool take on it. But for some odd reason, it just, like, that movie and that franchise never completely latched on. And like, when you get Star Trek Beyond, the third installment, it kind of just felt like it was made for, like, people who want to see sci-fi meets Fast and Furious. And I was like, this is not what I wanted. And I just love how in like 180 years or whatever it is, like, there's still going to be antique cars and people listening to Beastie Boys. Like, Beastie Boys will always be classic. Even in 200 years. That's what they're going to listen to. Beastie Boys. All right. The next one comes from Robert G. Chinto, once again, who says, how much money do do a live watch along of one of Cooter. Okay, how much money to do a live watch along of one of Cool Tutor's directed movies? Probably better than Stuckman's. Also, how about that Iron Lung? I don't know, man. I've never seen one of Cool Tutor's movies. I think it is cool though. He's like directing like these like B horror movies. And I've seen a couple of his vlogs. Like he's got a cast, he's got a crew, he's out in the desert making like these fun little B horror movies. Good for him. That's pretty awesome. Have I ever watched one? No, but I salute him for making them. Now, when it comes to Iron Lung, Markiplier's new movie based on a video game, I have not watched Iron Lung. Now, I did almost watch it yesterday, and it's not because I was that interested in watching it. To me, it looks like sort of like a substandard movie that you would watch on Shudder. And I don't mean that with disrespect. That's sort of what it looks like to me. And I know he has a huge fan base, and, you know, I get why he put himself in the movie, because that fan base that he has, it's built in, will probably be more likely to watch a movie with him in it than watch a movie without him in it, even though he directed it and wrote it and produced it and all that other stuff. So I get why he starred in his own movie. By all means, it's your movie, man. Do what you want. But I just don't... I don't want to look at him for 2 hours in the movie. You know, I don't care if I saw the trailer for it, and his voice tries to get deep like this, and I'm just like, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I will watch it at some point, maybe, just for the sake of making a video. I've heard some people say they really liked it. A lot of people say it's okay, and a lot of people do the typical thing that you do when a YouTuber makes a movie. They go, oh, good job. He got to do what he needed to do to make a movie, and I respect that. And I think the concept of Iron Lung sounds kind of cool. Like, I looked into the video game, and the premise sounds phenomenal. You have like this guy sentenced to death, and he's put in this submarine, and he's welded inside of it, and he's put on this moon that's basically just a big pool of blood, and everything in the universe has been deleted, you know, and it just non-existent, and he's searching for minerals or something like that. And there's giant monsters in this big ocean of blood. Okay, that's kind of cool. The concept sounds cool. But I know it's a 45-minute game, and I know it's a 2-hour movie. And I don't know if the runtime's probably going to be justified, but yeah, those are my thoughts on it. I haven't seen it yet. But a few of you said, movie was very boring, John. Also, it has a $3 million budget. It was filmed in one room the entire 2 hours. I appreciate him making a film, but man, it was boring. Yeah, that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with a movie that takes place in one location. I think if you have a limited budget, you should do that. I mean, it's been done to perfection multiple times throughout cinema. I mean, look at the movie Saw. 90% of it takes place in a room. Great movie, right? But yeah, 2 hours, like, that just seems like it's getting a bit self-indulgent. It's like, maybe you should hire a third-party editor, and maybe he did, to tell you everything that you did wrong and then chop that shit down to 90 minutes. Because really, that sounds like the perfect 90-minute movie. One location, one guy, in a sea of blood? Okay. And it's called The Iron Lung, so it's not a movie about polio? Sounds fascinating. All right, let's keep going here. Lee B Films, how's it going? Lee B, once again, man. Which would you take? A red pill, Sam Raimi, and James Gunn comic book movies? Blue pill, Russo brothers, and Christopher Nolan comic book movies? Oh, so I can only pick one set of directors for their comic book movies that exist? Or I'll just go with that. Okay, so with the Russos, I get the Avengers movies. Okay, and then with Nolan, I get the Batman movies. And with James Gunn, I get all of his, the James Gunn one is not even like a debate for me. I don't care. I like Guardians, the new Superman movie. I could live without ever seeing it, and I don't think it would matter. Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 1 and 2 were good, but that's really it. So really that conversation, that debate would come down to, do I want to see Spider-Man 1 and 2, or would I rather have the entire Dark Knight trilogy and the Avengers movies? Or 3 of the Avengers movies or whatever from the Russos. And plus I get Captain America Winter Soldier. Yeah, shit. That's an easy one. I'm going with was that even the question, or was it? Yeah, so I get the Russo brothers and the Christopher Nolan. Okay, definitely going with that. How could you not? But thanks for the question. Who was whispering to you, John? No, that was my Ring doorbell. It was telling me there's action or something happening on one of my cameras outside. That's all. That's all that's happening. It wasn't a voice coming from the basement down below. Shh! Keep it down, or you're going to get the hose again. It does this whenever it's told. Okay, let's keep going. So yeah, I'm taking that blue pill. That Viagra blue pill. That's what I'm taking. Because the Dark Knight movies give me a... Never mind. Let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Avocado Balls Johnson. If you went to prison, which gang would you join? Oh, man. Come on. Oh, man. Come on. Listen. Have you guys ever watched the MSNBC series about prison called Locked Up? Now, in that series, there was a gang called the Gay Boy Gangsters. So I'm definitely joining that, man. All day. I'll keep it real, man. All right? GBG for life. So, yeah, probably that. Okay. Let me take a drink of this. Did you hear Arnold was voted as the best action star of all time? I agree with that. He's my favorite. Who voted on that? Where was that vote? Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Yeah, I mean, Arnold is the quintessential action star of all time. All right, the next one comes from Andy Kumar, who says, ever had a mango yogurt lassi Indian milkshake? I have not. I have not had that. That sounds kind of delightful. Sounds mildly refreshing. But I have not had one. No, I have not had an Indian milkshake. I feel like that was a setup for a joke. I really did. But it does sound good, man. I'm not going to lie to you. A mango, I like mango yogurt. I just had a banana cream pie yogurt the other day. And I know, don't make fun of me. I really did. It was delicious. Bob in KC. How's it going, Bob in KC? Bob in Kansas City. How's it going? Here it goes. Do you think Lou Bloom in Nightcrawler is a product of society or just pure psychopath? Well, I'm just speculating when I say this, but I like to think Lou Bloom, he may be the product of a tormented childhood, right? And sometimes you can say a sociopath is a product of their environment, and they very well could be. But also, sometimes I think a sociopath is just someone who has a somewhat chemical imbalance. There's just a few things in the wrong places, and there's too much of something in the right place, if you will. So for me, Lou Bloom, I always thought of as an inspirational character. And hear me out for a second. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Lou Bloom's kind of a bad guy. Yeah, to a certain degree, but sometimes you have to do whatever it takes to win. And I feel like Lou Bloom does that. He makes the sacrifices. if you play by the rules, eventually the house will always win. You have to break the rules. And that's what Lou Bloom does. And my favorite thing about the movie Nightcrawler is he wins. He gets everything that he wants. And it's so rare in a movie where the bad guy wins. But I like it. So I think it might just be a product of a multitude of things. Maybe he came from an abusive background. And sometimes when that happens, the brain responds to that trauma with a lack of empathy, maybe. I guess that's what makes a sociopath. So sure, well, I think it's a little bit of both. I like to say, if you're seeing me, you're having the worst day of your life. So anyway, thanks for the question, Bob. And as Lou Bloom says, if you're seeing me, I like to think you're having the worst day of your life. The name of the company is Video Production News, a professional news gathering service. That is how it should be read, and that is how it should be said. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Dakota, Minnesota, 5889. What's with all these city names going on here? How are you feeling about Fast Forever in 2026? I'm not feeling much, to be completely honest with you. When it comes to the Fast and Furious franchise, I don't think I have completed one of the movies in its entirety since maybe Fast and Furious 7? Maybe? Which one was that? There was the one where Paul Walker passed away when they were filming it. And then there was like another one after that. Maybe I watched that one. Was that with Charlize Theron? Or was that the one? Who cares? Now listen, I've heard Vin Diesel say that they are going back to basics. And if that's the case, maybe I'll give it a watch. But if I see flying cars in space and Vin Diesel looking like a baked potato, just mumbling family, like I don't care anymore. What do you guys think? Are you guys looking forward to the new Fast and Furious movie? What else can you do? I mean, even if they go back to street racing, okay, now what? I feel like the only thing the Fast and Furious franchise, I feel like what it could do, like, and the only thing that they really could do, like, I almost feel like a prequel would be better at this point. Like, imagine a, like, mid-1990s Fast and Furious movie that took place in California. That could be kind of interesting, and that could be, like, more grounded and simple. I don't know if anyone would want to see that movie, but that could be a thing. You could recast somebody to play Vin Diesel. Who could you cast? I don't know, but F9 was the worst. I think everything after F6 was the worst. I stopped caring about Fast and Furious like after Fast and Furious 5. I think Fast and Furious 5 had like the perfect blend of being bombastic and a bit over the top, but at least it was sort of watchable and likable. And Paul Walker was still alive to like make me care about this franchise. But I truly feel like that franchise, when Paul Walker passed away, that franchise kind of like went with him. Okay, the next one comes from Tyler Brusso. How's it going, Tyler? Once again, here we go. You have helped me through some hard times, man. Thank you for all the content, live streams, etc. You're not a B-rate YouTuber. You are an S tier, sir. Well, thank you so much for that. I will take those kind words. Thank you so much. And I do mean that, man. Thanks for that. It does baffle me that, you know, people watch my videos and enjoy them and get something from them. You know, and that's always the goal. You hope that's the goal. But it's always nice to hear some feedback. It really is. So thank you, Tyler. Thank you so much for that, man. Thanks for watching, you know. Thanks, man. And thanks to all of you watching. It does mean a lot. And I've said this once, I'll say it again. Without you guys watching, I ain't shit. I'm just some guy here talking about movies with party poppers, not wearing pants. But because of you, you guys make this magic a reality. So let's just move on before we get too weird. I don't want to get too sentimental. I'm a man, okay? I don't talk about my feelings or my emotions. No. But thanks for that, Tyler. Thank you so much, man. And you know, Tyler, you get a party popper. Here, open up. Go. 3, 2, 1. Just for you, Tyler. And Tyler back again with another glorious question says, I've been watching since 2013. Wish I left more comments before. I'm still rewatching all of the old live streams, flick trips, and Q&A videos. Well, thanks for that, man. Thanks. That does mean a lot. And, there's a lot of other YouTubers I watch as well, where they're sort of like my comfort food YouTuber, right? Sometimes I go back and watch their older stuff, and when I run out of their older content to watch, it sort of gets depressing. So, I'm glad that I'm also that for a few other people. So thanks for that, man. And the great thing is about the live streams, I think we've been doing live streams now for like 5 years. So plenty of content to go around. I don't even like to call my live streams content. That sounds so pretentious. Ugh. Blah. No. These are just group hangout sessions between friends where you can say anything you want and no one can criticize you. All right, so thank you for that, man. And don't you ever leave me, Tyler. Don't you ever leave me. Here's another party popper. I'm going to blow this one up. I'm going to blow this one up in the sky. You ready for it? I want it to rain down upon us. Are you ready? Well, it didn't really rain down upon us. I'm sorry for that. But I tried. I tried so hard, Tyler. Okay, the next one comes from Darth Maulballs. And Darth Maulball says, where does Dune 3 rank on anticipation for you? Hey, listen, we just talked about all my most anticipated movies of the year. I didn't really rank them per se. I just sort of talked about all the movies coming out in 2026 that I was kind of looking forward to. I don't know. It probably ranks in the top like 10, maybe. 10 or so. Like, I like Dune. I do. I think it's like a epic sci-fi immersive experience. But it's, oddly enough, it's those movies I don't go back and rewatch a lot. Like the first Dune movie I've watched twice. The second Dune movie I've watched twice. And that's it. And the new one I'll probably watch once or twice. I like them. I just don't revisit them quite often. So somewhere in the top 10 or so. We'll go with that. All right, the next one comes from Caleb, who says, John, what's your favorite Blu-ray you have? Does it have a story behind it? Thanks for all you do. Man, I got a lot of Steelbooks and Blu-rays, and I'd really have to go through all of them to figure out conclusively the best answer for you. And the one that I have closest to me right now, let me wipe the party popper off me. That's what she said. But I have this one right here. This one was in front of me. This was my example go-to earlier when I was talking about physical media. This is Master and Commander on 4K. Now, I bought this 4K Steelbook off eBay because I knew I would never find this in a store. Like, I had to buy this off eBay because I just knew I would never see it anywhere else except online. And the reason I bought this, not only is Master and Commander one of the most underrated movies of all time, it's an epic adventure on the sea that takes place in the 1800s, and I think it's phenomenal. But also, it's one of those movies that I was hoping would get a new restoration that deserved to be on 4K. And I remember like 10 years ago, maybe like 12, 13 years ago, I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine who goes by Crazy Jason. And we were talking about movies that we hope one day get a 4K release and movies that should get a 4K release. And I remember that was specifically the movie we talked about was Master and Commander, which we both enjoyed. And I I remember when that finally hit 4K, I was like, I got to get it, man. I got to get it. And the reason it's still in the plastic is because I'm savoring the flavor to watch it at the perfect time. And that's the thing about physical media that I didn't elaborate on earlier is, you can stream a movie and it's just like, yeah, I streamed a movie. That doesn't feel like I feel empty when I say that. But if you buy the movie and you put it on your shelf and you keep it in the plastic and on that special rainy day, when you're in the mood to watch that movie, it's a gift you give yourself. And then you take it off the shelf, you open up the plastic and you smell it. Now, does it smell like a factory in Taiwan? Maybe. I don't know. But it smells beautiful nevertheless. And then you pop that little optical disc into the player. You have the artwork. It has a tactile function to it. You can feel it. You can look at the artwork. Ah, man. So, yeah. Anyway, my point is I'd go with this one. What's the next question here? And the next one comes from, and by the way, thank you for the question, Caleb. I only have 3 party poppers left, but Caleb, you get one. So here you go, man. This is for Master and Commander. All right. You'll shoot your eye out. The next one comes from Darth Maul's Balls, who says, if you had to binge watch all of them, Saw or Fast and Furious? I would much rather binge watch the Saw movies. They're probably shorter. They're more entertaining. At least they know what they are. And it's not bloated Vin Diesel driving around in a car with bad CGI. Like, at least it's people getting decapitated by playing a game. You once jaywalked in 1996. Now you have a saw blade up to your brain. You must take 3 ounces of the left side of the hemisphere of your brain and put them in this dish. Live or die. The choice is yours. It's like Jigsaw. If I have to cut into my own skull and take out part of my brain, I'm pretty sure life just won't be the same after this, man. I think I've already lost this game. Just kill me now, please. But anyway, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Claudia Rogajan, who says, I watched District 9 for the first time recently. You never saw District 9 until now? You've seen every shitty 80s and 90s Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, but you never watched District 9 until now. That is fascinating. Let's continue on here. And then I watched Elysium right after. Ooh, I bet you thought Elysium would be better than it was, didn't you? Okay, let's continue on. I realized that they are literally the same movie. A guy gets sick and has to fly up to a place to get healed, but ends with sacrificing himself for a parent and child. Yes, and they both sort of take place in Johannesburg, Africa, and there's a big separation between the upper class and the lower class struggling to survive. The themes are exactly the same. And then you can watch other movies like Chappie, which is kind of the same shit in more or less. District 9 is great. And then I thought Elysium was just bad. Like, it's just bad. Like a really bad movie. And originally, I believe that role of Matt Damon in that movie was originally supposed to be played by Eminem. So there's that. But District 9 is great. And it's so interesting. The reason that we got District 9, the movie, was because they originally were going to make a Halo movie. And then it fell through with Peter Jackson and Microsoft. And then they had all the props for the Halo movie ready to go, or most of them. And they're like, well, we have to do something with this. So then they made District 9. So there's that. Okay, the next one comes from Seth Hole 881. How's it going, Seth? Thanks for the question, man. Very, very generous of you. Hey, John. Just wanted to say, been a long time since just been busy with live school trying to get into my radiology program. For old time's sake, will you pick a random movie off your shelf for me to watch? Well, Seth Hall, It's the least I can do. And here's a party popper, so watch this first. All right, Seth. You want me to pick a random? You want me just to pick a random movie off my shelf? Do you want me to like figure out which movie, or just like close my eyes and make it random, and then try to sell you on the movie, even if it's a shitty movie? Which one do you want, man? You got to let me know. You can let me know in the normal chat. Because if I had to pick a movie for you to watch, it might take me a minute to actually figure out which movie that would be on my shelf, and then take me another 3 minutes to even find the movie, because I don't organize my movies whatsoever. I have steelbooks over here. I have 4K titles on the top shelves, and then I couldn't tell you where anything else is. I have no clue. But I like it like that. I like to shock myself and surprise myself when I look for a physical copy of a movie. So close my eyes and just pick one. Okay. All right. Here, let me close my eyes. I don't want to cheat. How do I hang on? Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to put on my Santa Claus hat, because why not? And I'm gonna try to find a movie. I'm gonna walk to the steelbooks over there. Okay, you ready? Okay, I can't see anything. I'm essentially a blind Santa Claus. Here we go. Is this the shelf? Oh, here we go. I could not see this movie. Here it is. I got you Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, I shouldn't have to tell you why you should watch the best action movie ever made, objectively and subjectively. In my opinion, this is quintessential watching for any cinema lover. Now, if you want to watch a T-800 cybernetic organism go back in time to save a 12-year-old boy who's a criminal at heart and his mom's in a loony bin, this is the movie for you. And when I watched this movie as a young boy, watching John Connor hang out with his ginger best friend, riding a dirt bike, listening to metal music, robbing ATMs, and going to the arcade, I wanted to be young John Connor. Easy money. Promise me you're not going to kill anyone. But man, that bonding relationship that he makes with a robot, it's truly touching. It really is. Now, let's talk about the 4K transfer, which is an abomination against humanity. And the color grading is just so indulgent. It looks like every other modern day action movie where they just took all that great color and all that juicy grain that you had in the early 1990s, and they just desaturated it and cleaned it up a little too much and made it too clean and artificial looking, which sort of kills some of the character vibe of the movie for me. But anyway, go watch Terminator 2 Judgment Day. But awesome slipcover and awesome steelbook. Look at this. Look at this right here. Oh yeah. I don't know about you, but if I was Skynet and I was the most intelligent AI ever created, if I was going to send a killing machine back in time, I would make sure he's a buff bodybuilder with a heavy Austrian accent. That way he blends in. Just putting it out there. All right. So there's that. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one, I hope that was sufficient for you. I hope I gave you everything you wanted with that. Oh, okay. And the next one comes from Jack Iden. How's it going, Jack Iden? Who says, I don't know if you are a fantasy book fan, but author Brandon Sanderson signed with Apple TV to adapt his works. I'm excited to see what comes of it. I think Apple TV is creating the highest quality content and will not cancel a show after one season. Well, that's because they can afford not to. But I am not familiar with what has he written. What's your favorite book that he's written? Like, what would you love to see be made into a TV show or a movie from his novels? Let me know. I'm not familiar, but that sounds kind of cool. But if you want to let me know in the normal chat, please do, man. Thank you for the question. I like fantasy books. I do. I like fantasy movies as long as like they just don't. I don't want to say go too self-indulgent. Sometimes they can just get a little bit wonky. You know what I mean? Like there's some fantasy that's just too fantastical, if that's such a thing. Dustin Rich says, hot take. I don't care about the human characters in the Terminator movies. I just like seeing them run from killer robots. That's interesting. See, I do. I think the human characters are what elevate the cybernetic characters, right? Like without the human characters, you don't get that human connection to this cybernetic organism known as the Terminator in T2. Like it's because he's interacting with these human characters, thus he becomes more human himself. He's adapting. And I think that's quintessential to his story. Like if you don't care about the people that he's protecting, then like how can you give a shit about anything? John would like to be in a I would like to be John Connor in a Terminator movie. That sounds good to me. Peter Jackson Halo or Spielberg Call of Duty movie. I'd definitely take that Peter Jackson Halo movie, man. Listen, a Call of Duty movie, you might as well just watch Black Hawk Down. There you go. I mean, I almost feel like a Call of Duty movie would probably be more accurate directed by Michael Bay, to be completely honest with you. Like the best version of Michael Bay directing a Call of Duty movie would probably be the tone it would be most accurate. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... Let's scroll up here. You guys are killing it with the questions. See, it's so weird to me. It's Tuesday night, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put out a live show. I'm gonna give people an hour notice. Maybe a couple people will show up tonight, whatever. And it's always the ones that I just crap out that get the most viewership and the most engagement. That's how life works on YouTube. If you just don't try it all, it always works out for the best. And that's why I try not to plan too far ahead. Alex Garland would make a good Call of Duty movie. Yeah, he probably would. It depends, though. Didn't he direct the Civil War movie, though? And that was kind of mediocre. Okay, the next one comes from Night King 01, who says... Somebody probably said it, but I'll say it again. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is really good. If you haven't watched it so far, you should. Maybe just wait until all 6 episodes are out and binge them. Only 30 minutes apiece. Very relaxing show. Night King, man, you missed the last live show, and you missed a lot. I talked about this series, and I have been watching it on a weekly basis. And listen, first let me say this. When it comes to episodic TV series that get released weekly, I'm okay with it. Much like I'm old-fashioned when it comes to physical media, if you give me a quality series that's worth waiting a week to watch and I can look forward to it every Sunday night, and it's sort of like my weekend in cap, like it's something like the weekend's over, I just showered, I ate dinner. I'm fresh. I'm clean. Maybe, just maybe I took a gummy. Who knows? Couldn't tell you. I don't know. And I'm in bed and we got the candles lit and we want something to watch and relax that night. There's nothing better than a good TV series. And that show for the last 3 weeks now has been A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, my biggest complaints with the TV series or the show so far is, 30-minute episodes. It's sort of hard to get super excited because before you can get settled and immersed into it, and I'm only halfway done eating my buffalo flavored Cheez-Its. It's like the episode's over and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll see more next week. So that's my biggest issue with it. Yeah, 30-minute run times. I wish it was a little bit longer, but I do know it's based on novellas, which are short novels in themselves. So they are sort of dragging out these small scale stories. And that's cool, but man, the thing that's going to suck about it is, more or less, by the end of this, you could have maybe just made it like a 3-hour movie. But the thing that's going to really suck is we're going to have to wait like 2 years for the next season. But it is good. I do enjoy it. And I do like Sir Duncan the Tall. I like the sidekick character, Egg. I like that it's sort of all revolving around a jousting tournament. I like small scale stories like that take place in the Game of Thrones universe. I think they're fascinating. And I think the tone of this new series has a little more levity in it. And I do like that. I think it's like the tone is right. It's just, I want more to happen though. Okay, like, would it have killed you to make like a 45-minute episode? That's all I'm asking. Could you give me that maybe? But I do like it so far. All right. Let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from MVS5248, who says, have you seen No Other Choice? Phenomenal dark comedy thriller from South Korea. You should watch it before finalizing your 2025 list. Yeah, I have been working on my 2025 list. I was going to do that today, to be completely transparent with you. But to do that, I have to upload all of the graphics beforehand. And like, I just didn't have time to like make it all happen for you. But I will do it. I'm kind of thinking like top 10 2025 live stream will be this weekend. So keep an eye out for that. No Other Choice. That sounds really familiar. Yeah, we talked about this on the last live show, I believe. I have not watched it yet. I wrote it down somewhere on the last live show to watch. Here, let me take a picture of it, because I have ADHD and taking pictures of stuff is the only way I can remember how to do them. Okay, here we go. Okay, I took a picture of it. If you guys don't know what it is, it's this right here. It's directed by Park Chan-wook. It came out in August. And it's about a man abruptly laid off after 25 years at the same company. A desperate man goes to extreme lengths to eliminate the competition for a job he wants. Coming to a theater this summer. But it's already out, so you can just watch it. I definitely will check that out. Actually, you know what? This might be a movie. Maybe I start it tonight or tomorrow. Is it out on streaming? Can I watch it somewhere? Oh, it's still at the theater, man. Okay. Maybe that's why I didn't watch it yet. And it's only playing at one theater in my town. Huh. Sounds cool. I would like to check it out. I love a good South Korean movie. Okay, we got one. Dustin Rich, when are you doing your 5-part breakdown on the plot of Neon Demon? I'm working on that. Give me another 6 to 7 years. We'll get there. Yeah, the director of Old Boy. Man, Old Boy is a movie I've been meaning to... Is Old Boy on 4K? Is Old Boy on 4K? I want to buy that. Also, that's a movie I've been meaning to show my wife. I left and got pizza. What did I miss? Just a few things. You can scroll back, man. Enjoy that delicious, juicy, greasy pizza. More excited for Batman 2 or the DCU Batman movie? Man, the more and more I hear from James Gunn, the less and less excited I get for this upcoming DC universe from James Gunn. And that's really upsetting to me. Listen, I hope that the tone of the new Batman movie in the James Gunn verse of things is dark and kind of gritty and fantastical, and it's You know, it's the live action Batman we've all wanted to see. I do hope it is that, but I've also heard it's going to be from like the same screenwriter of The Flash. And I'm just like, that's not going to be what it should be. Just come on. What are you doing? Come on. So I am really looking forward to the Batman 2 from Matt Reeves. I'm really looking forward to that. I would, based on everything that I have to work with right now at my fingertips, just the info that I have, I'd probably lean towards the Batman 2. But then again, if we get a badass, epic, fantastical version of a new Batman movie where he has like a gray suit and he's got like kind of a blue cape, and man, it's just, it's everything you want to see, then by all means, give it to me. I'm okay. But I don't know. You know, because I'll just stop there. We could talk about that for like 10 minutes. We shall wait and see. But if I had to pick one to watch right now, I'd probably just go with the Batman 2. Could you see the DCU fail and James Gunn go back to Marvel from Lee B. Films, who is my number one fan this week? Yay! Why do you treat me so good? Anyway, it does make you wonder. There's two things at play here. And why didn't you guys tell me I still have that screen up? Anyway, there's two things at play here. Warner Brothers is currently in the process of being sold. So if they get sold to Netflix, a lot of things could change. All right. So who knows what the future holds for the DCU? And part of me thinks if Netflix obtains the rights, we're going to get a lot more comic book movies that are more similar to like the new Superman and Flash movie. Yeah, that's just the vibe I'm picking up on. What was the question? I'm sorry. I forgot. Oh, James Gunn. Yeah. So it makes you wonder, how many movies can we get from James Gunn? Like, we got Superman, we're getting Supergirl. And if Supergirl sort of like does mediocre at the box office, and then we get another movie from James Gunn that does mediocre at the box office, how many chances are you going to give this guy going the wrong direction? Because I feel like we're going there slowly but surely. It's not quite the version of the DC comic book universe I was hoping to see. It doesn't feel as grandiose as I was hoping it would, but we shall see. Yeah, if Netflix buys them, we are fucked. Oh yeah. Yeah. ChatGPT will be writing all the scripts for your favorite comic book movies going forward. Get ready, everybody. Okay, the next one comes from Cup of Joe Media back again. Says, fingers crossed we get The Last of the Mohicans in 4K. You know what's weird about that movie? I never liked that movie that much. Like, I thought it was cool, the Daniel Day-Lewis Last of the Mohicans. I watched it, I think I watched it on... Did I watch it on Blu-ray or DVD? I watched it like over a decade ago. And I thought it was kind of cool. Like, you know, I liked some of the like the fight scenes and some of the grittiness of it. And I liked the landscapes that the characters are moving through. But I just did not connect to that movie that much. But, you know, maybe I missed something. Maybe I'd have to go back and revisit it, man. But anytime you get like an epic that was actually shot on film on 4K, that's this epic journey, by all means, absolutely. Silo says, I don't mean to be nosy, but I remember you saying you got a real job and stopped uploading as frequently. What is your new job and how much do you make? Well, let me start with this. Let me give you my social security, my address, and my shoe size. How about we start there? Would you also like me to take out my debit cards and give you the numbers to those as well before we continue on? But before we do all that, would you like my blood type? I'm just kidding. I can answer these questions for you. I'm not uptight. I don't care. What happened was I became a licensed home inspector. So I basically inspect new homes, old homes, and I basically work on a commission of what the total price of it is. And I like it quite a bit. And I'll tell you why I like it. for me, it took me a long time to figure this out, but I secretly always knew it about myself as a guy who's been making YouTube videos for 15 years. And I did it full time for like 12 years. I work better when I'm alone. And autonomy is like the best thing you can give me in any career that I tackle. And what I mean by that is I just work better when I'm alone. I'm more efficient. I'm quicker. I guess maybe I just don't have a lot of tolerance for people. I think that's the point I'm getting at. And so that's what I do. And I like it. You know, it's a little physical. It's technical. And I find it sort of enjoyable. It's like a practical skill set I enjoy. And you utilize like different tools to get the job done. You make reports on houses. I kind of find it fun some days. Now, other days when it's like -16 out and you're on top of someone's house, that sort of sucks. But yeah, I make a commission on that. So, you know, if it's busy, I do pretty well. I'll put it like that. Yeah, the CVV on the back of my debit card. How could I forget? I'll give you that one too. Actually, if I forget to give it to you here, I'll share it on X later in a post. How's that? Would you guys like me to screen share as I log in all my banking information? I work better alone. I'm like a serial killer. Yeah, I do though. All right, let's go to the next one. Have you seen the show Buffy? No, I watched it a few times. I kind of had a crush on Sarah Michelle Gellar when I was in my early teens, but I liked the Christy. What was her name? Christy Swanson. The original Buffy movie from like 93, 94. Buffy vampire movie. Yeah, this one right here. Like, growing up watching that, I had the biggest crush on her. Oh my gosh. It also stars Pee Wee Herman. There he is right there. But yeah, quite enjoyed this movie growing up. Fun guilty pleasure movie. So there's that. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Avocado Balls Johnson. Avocado Balls Johnson says, go to an old video on the John Flickinger channel called Broken Transformer. Movies and more, ask anything, and start from the 11-minute mark. Okay, I have no clue what this is. I could not tell you what this is, but I will do it. What is this called? Broken Transformer, movies and more, 11-minute mark. Okay, I'll do it, man. I don't even see the video popping up anymore. Oh gosh, okay. You said the 11-minute mark it is? Okay, man, let's check this bad boy out. Give me a second here. Let's go back to the past. Now keep in mind this video is 11 years old, okay? So don't judge it too harshly. Here we go.
Hey Johnny Rockets. I like that. That's going to be my stage name if I ever get into a adult films. What do you think of Lights Camera Jackson? I'm not answering another Lights Camera Jackson. Not right now. I can't handle it. It's too late and it'll just get too violent and bloody. But if I could just take that little kid, it's that little fucking scrawny kid, and I just put my bicep around his oh god. Do you like that, Lights Camera Jackson? Do you know what I can do to you? Okay. And just like, why don't you like good movies? Oh! Look what you made me do, you little jerk. Alright, see, that's why I don't talk about him. Now my hand hurts. Alright.
Was that it? Is that what you want me? Is that what you wanted me to do? Uh, oh man, look at that, dude. I was getting into working out right there. You can see the bicep vein right there poking, baby. Look at that bad boy. What's this?
Noticed by fans in public.
Yeah, so there it is. Thank you for that little trip down memory lane there. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Whatever happened? Is Lights Camera Jackson still doing stuff? Is he? What's he doing nowadays? Let's look at him. Lights Camera Jackson. Let's see. Oh, he made a video 11 days ago. He's still making stuff.
There's some
Oh gosh.
Penguins were original.
Hang on.
Penguins in fighting. I think they made
Every animated movie.
Here's Lights Camera Jackson. Let's look at him.
The impact after 20 years. Not every movie, not every animated movie gets the opportunity to come back to theaters after 20 years.
when you go.
So anyway, yeah, there it is. Okay. Lights, Camera, Jackson. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... And by the way, thanks for the question, Avocado Balls Johnson. Claudia Rogajon says, regarding what I thought about District 9, I thought it was okay. The message was pretty obvious and hammered in, and the villains are cartoons. The movie looks great, but I thought the story was weak, and I did like the alien father and the kid, though. The prongs? Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it at least somewhat, man. The thing is, I think had you watched that movie back in like 2009 when it came out, I think you would have maybe liked it more. Night King 01 says, John, I finally got a copy of Taxi Driver on 4K. I must say, the movie looks amazing on 4K. The neon blue hue in the movie really pops out nicely. I wonder if the Warriors on 4K are similar since it's the same director. Only way to watch whenever you do. Only way to watch whenever... Yeah, I own Taxi Driver on 4K. I think it looks juicy and beautiful. When I watch Taxi Driver on 4K, that is how you do a 4K transfer. The grain is still intact. It just looks like the cinematic experience of like watching it in the theater, but it's at home now. When I watch Taxi Driver on 4K, it looks like it's being projected onto my TV with film. And that's the biggest praise I can give it. You said what? Oh, you said The Driver on 4K. I'm not even talking about the same shit. Okay, I haven't seen The Driver. But The Driver is directed by the same guy who directed The Warriors. That makes more sense now that I read it like that. So I'm sorry for that. At one point in life, I will get around to watching The Driver. I promise you, Night King 01. I promise you. Okay, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Jace Holloway, 3580, who says, Hey, John, I haven't caught a show live in a while. Wanted to ask what you think about Creep Show. Takes from the Crypt, or you mean Tales from the Crypt, or any other episodic horror concepts like those. Keep up the good work, man. Well, thanks, Jace. You get a party popper. I used to like Tales from the Crypt quite a bit when I was a kid. I loved episodic series or TV shows where you had a host, like the Crypt Keeper. And I loved the intro to Tales of the Crypt where the camera went down the stairway into the Crypt Keeper's chamber. Let's look at that right now. Tales from the Crypt intro. Oh, hell yeah, baby. Here it is. Let's watch this together. Can't play all the music, sorry, but I mean, you get the vibe. Goes into this creepy house, and I just always remember it going down these stairs back here in this house. There it is, right there, these stairs. You just don't get intros like this anymore. Like, you get this immersive first-person view, and it's just like, I'm so excited to watch this. Like, how could you watch this intro and not watch the show? And you got the Crypt Keeper right there. So I used to like Tales from the Crypt quite a bit. I mean, I guess another thing, you get like Black Mirror episodes, but nothing compares to stuff like this. So yeah, I'd go with, I used to watch Tales from the Crypt quite a bit. There were some shitty episodes though. Dustin Rich says you should reach out to Lights Camera Jackson to see if he would join you on a live show. I guarantee you he probably would not. Favorite Danny Elfman score? Batman. I'm going to go like Batman. Has to be Batman, right? That's my favorite score from Danny Elfman. Main track to Batman. Everything used to be so much more creative and imaginative. I know, I did. The Goosebumps intro was good. The show, not that good. Or like, Are You Afraid of the Dark was really good. That also had like kind of a cool intro. Like the kids it'd always start out with them around the campfire, and like the fire would go out. Are you afraid of the dark? Like that was good stuff. But thanks for the question, man. And guys, I did not think we would do this tonight. I'm officially out of party poppers, so if I don't give you a party popper tonight, I am so sorry. I will buy more at Walmart tomorrow. Jokerface501 says, John, you should watch His and Hers with your wife. I feel like I seen this. His and Hers. Okay, I watched the first episode of this on Netflix, and I just could not get into it. I don't know why. I just felt like a Netflix generic drama. Now, I know there's some seedy stuff in it, but I just like that first episode was so boring I couldn't get into it. Please tell me if I'm wrong or right. It felt like Netflix content to me. That's as far as I got. I know it has some like pretty seedy stuff, but then the first episode did not do much to entice me. The next one comes from Robert Giacinta, 6323 once again. Anyone know what Pee-wee did in the movie theater that one time? Heard he was stroking something. Not too sure, though. Yeah, Paul Rubens, that whole thing. Now, listen, I'm not going to stick up for a guy who was arrested for indecent exposure too much, but I will say this. The dude was in an adult theater where only adults were allowed to go to watch a pornographic adult-rated film. And I don't know about you, but when you go to such cinemas, you're not necessarily going there just to eat popcorn and watch the story, unless you're Travis Bickle from The Taxi Driver. So what he did in said theater, I just don't think it's like, it makes sense to me. Like, it's not like you took a family of 5 people to go to this theater. Oh, look at that. What's that guy doing over there? No, this is where you go to do such things. All right, let's go to the next one here. The next one comes from Claudio Rogajon. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google Paul Rubens movie theater. Claudio Rogajon says, John, I think you're the only person who likes the Buffy movie, because everyone I know who's a fan of the show thinks it's a piece of crap. Even Joss Whedon said it was a bastardized version of his original script, which was much darker like the TV show. No, I understand that. I don't think it's a good movie. I just think it's one of those guilty pleasure movies I remember watching on like Showtime when it would play 5 times a day back in 1994. That's all I'm saying. And I had a crush on the chick who played Buffy. That's it. That's all I'm saying, man. I don't think it's good by any means. All right. Predminter? Okay, here goes Predminter. 8157. Have you been to those luxury dine-in theaters like iPick and CMX? I have been to both, and both are awesome. Nothing better than eating a nice meal and watching a movie. What is I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's just a movie theater where you can order food and eat. Yeah, okay. So I thought it would be something else. I know they have like different theater experiences now where you can like order food and they have like a 360 screen in front of you where they like showcase like sporting events now. Anyway, what you're talking about is more or less this right here, not whatever that is, but this theater experience here, where you can basically order food as you eat. Now, I've been to Alamo Drafthouse, and I went to unfortunately, we don't have one in my area. The closest one's Indianapolis, but I went to Alamo Drafthouse for Fantastic Fest a year or two ago, and that's a great theater. And you can order food. You write it on a piece of paper. You push a button. Someone comes and takes your order, and then they serve it to you. And they have really good chicken strips and hamburgers. And I think they're priced decently. So, yeah, I think it's really cool. You can order candy or whatever you want. You don't have to get up. It's glorious. I wish my town had something like that. Now, I have heard, though, Alamo Drafthouse is actually switching things up. When it comes to placing your order, you no longer place your order on a piece of paper. You now place it on an app on your phone. So now they're telling you to use your phone while watching the movie to place an order. And to me, that's just opening up the floodgates, and they should not be opened. Like, I liked writing it on a scrap piece of paper. You push a button, someone comes and grabs it. Great. But now people are going to open up their phone to use an app. Oh, you just ruined the experience. Okay, the next one comes from, and thanks for the question, man. Night King 01 back again says, John, I did something bad. Uh-oh, what'd you do, Night King? What'd you do? I was in the bookstore, and I saw a 4K copy of Under Siege at half price. Sad to say, I forked over $25, but I felt better after leaving the store and watching it over pizza at home. In all seriousness, it's a good-looking 4K. Well, man, as long as watching Steven Seagal with his shitty little greasy ponytail on 4K made you feel good about who you are and what you're doing in life, and if anything, that ponytail was way more greasy than the pizza you were eating when you watched it, I understand such things. So I forgive you for your sins against humanity. I almost bought the movie Ransom starring Mel Gibson for 20. Well, listen. At Mega Replay, they had a deal going on where if you bought 3 movies, you got 3 movies for free of equal or lesser value. I almost bought that and a few other out of print movies because Ransom on Blu-ray goes for like $25 or $30 or 30 something dollars. I almost bought it, but I did not pull the trigger on it. So I understand. Avocado Balls Johnson says, I prefer a shit in theater where the toilets are built into the seats in the screen room. No more missing crucial plot points because of a pee break. Well, listen, I'm going to follow up your comment with a real idea I once had. And hear me out for a second. I was going to come up with a line of adult-sized diapers that you would wear to the cinema. And I just don't know if I could maybe find the right demographic for them. But I just really feel like there's at least somebody would buy those, right? Like you're watching the new Odyssey movie in IMAX. You don't want to get up for that 3-hour cinematic experience. No. You have an adult-sized diaper that just so happens to be themed like popcorn or something. I don't know. Or maybe I can get a brand deal with Sour Patch Kids. First they're sour, and then they shit their pants. You know, like, that was an idea I had many years ago. So anyway, if you guys maybe I can start a GoFundMe or crowdsourcing campaign. I only need like $1 million to launch the product. And I really feel like we can get there. Just let me know if you want to be part of it. We're on the ground floor of an empire, and I just need you guys to be with me. They're not Depends. All right. They help the cinematic experience, okay? But then, someone said taking a dump in the theater is basically a metaphor for modern day cinema. Yeah, it absolutely is. All right, let's go to the next one here. Dude, at some point, I genuinely feel like intermissions should come back to movies. Like if any movie's over 2.5 hours long, right in the middle of the movie, you have a 5-minute intermission. And you can play like the intermission music, and you can have like concession popcorn buckets dancing on the screen, but you get 5 minutes with a countdown clock. You can go buy concessions, you can go use the bathroom, but I genuinely feel like that would be like a good idea. I'm just putting it out there. I think that would be kind of fun. Or maybe it'd be the worst idea ever. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to answer just a few more questions because we have been talking for almost 2.5 hours. So if you guys have another question that you feel like I have to answer, get it in right now. What if John had a brand of diapers? Yeah, I want to have a brand of diapers. Called Flick Dungarees. Dungaroos. Dump it and flick it. I don't know. We'll come up with a name later. Avocado Balls Johnson says, I'd prefer to... Oh, we already answered this. You talked about shitting in your pants. Oh, here it is. Yeah, Avocado Balls Johnson says, I prefer to shit in theaters where toilets are built into the seats. Yeah, I agree with you. Some people think pausing a movie ruins the experience of watching a film. Yeah, but dude, here's the thing. I have a bladder like a 7-year-old child, okay? And when I go to a movie theater, I take a large 20-ounce bottle of Sprite Zero, and I take a large 20-ounce bottle of Dr. Pepper Zero. Why? Because if I have a dark soda, I need a light soda. That's just how I work, okay? Just hear me out. I like both sides of the spectrum. And after I drink that first soda and I'm halfway through the second soda, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom. I just am, okay? It's what I do. And I'm going to miss a couple minutes of that movie. Now, I have a good internal clock to where I know where that boring part of the movie is because I've seen so many movies. I can clearly dissect where the second and third act are starting. And I can always pinpoint the filler scene in a movie. I can just sense filler. And that's usually where I go take a bathroom break. But all I'm saying is intermission, it would be beneficial to the theater as well. Oh, we got a 5-minute intermission. Okay, go use the concession stand now. Like, people are going to do it. Tyler Brusso says, we appreciate you, man. Well, I appreciate all of you even more. I'll tell you that right now. But thank you. Thank you so much. Thoughts on Michael Jackson trailer? I talked about the Michael Jackson movie quite a bit earlier. I thought the trailer was good. I thought it was like everything I guess it could be. He even showed his little chimpanzee. I have thoughts on it. I think it'll be more of a celebration of his music rather than like a true nitty-gritty biopic. But if you're catering to fans of him, like they don't want to see the dark side of Michael Jackson, even though I think for me, that's like the intriguing aspect of it. But whenever you have a property that has to be agreed upon by their family, you're going to get like a glossy version of that. Like it's not going to show, like, I think it'll show like Michael Jackson's father being a little bit controlling and maybe like surface level abusive, but it's not going to dive into the nitty gritty of it, so I'm curious to watch it. If for nothing else, I love me some good Michael Jackson music, and like watching the making of Thriller in that movie would be fascinating to me. John, worst sequel ever, Die Hard 5 was dog shit. Yeah, I'd go with Die Hard 5. How's that? One of the many worst sequels of all time. I am excited for Clayface. If you scroll back, I talked about all my most anticipated movies of 2026. Clayface is in there, so I'm definitely looking forward to it, man. We got one here from Andy Kumar who says, I got circumcised at age 27. It sucked, man. Oh, man. I can only imagine your pain. Imagine doing that with like a weed whacker or something. That seems like a scene that would be in the one of the new what's that fucking clown movie called? Terrifier. Oh my gosh. Yeah, one of the new Terrifier movies. Circumcision by a Chainsaw. Best Rachel McAdams movie? Well, hey, I'll tell you this. I put out, and by the way, if you guys want to help, I don't know, support whatever I do here. I don't know what I do here, but I started putting out clips of my reviews that I do here on the live show on the main channel because that channel was just dying. I was like, I got to put some content over there. So I did take all my movie review clips from the last live show and I made them separate videos on the Flickpick channel if you want to go check it out. So I do have a standalone review of Send Help starring Rachel McAdams over there. And I also talk a lot of shit about the movie Mercy. So look out for that. But yeah, I liked Mercy starring Rachel McAdams. I thought she did a really good job in that. She plays a good psycho kind of character. She reminded me of Kathy Bates from Misery. But if I can't have... I like Rachel McAdams in Notebook, and I also like her in Mean Girls. Also, I liked her in Red Eye quite a bit too. So those are a couple. Any recent movies you walked out of in the theater? No, typically if I go to a movie in the theater, I'm going to watch it. But I don't go see every single movie in the theater. I have a good sixth sense of what's going to be junk and what's going to be slightly entertaining. I'll tell you this. If I was watching Tron Ares at home, I probably would have just got up and left the room halfway through the movie. Or just looked at my phone the other half of the movie. I haven't got up and left a movie in the theater in a while. I will say that. It's been a long time. Beetlejuice 2 was a horrible sequel. Yeah, I'll probably never watch it again, and I don't think anyone else will. It's like, why would you watch Beetlejuice 2 when you could just watch Beetlejuice 1? Is Sin Help a sequel to Mean Girl? It could be. Technically, I guess you could pretend it is. Is Channing Tatum getting his own Gambit movie? Probably not. Tron Ares was good, though. I liked it, man. Hey, by all means, I'm glad you liked it. I hated that shit. John, you should watch when Bo breaks. You should watch The Bow Breaks with your wife. What is The Bow Breaks? Oh, that shit, man. I remember the trailer for that. Yeah, I'm good. Uranium Cranium says the Linda Blair / Richard Burton sequel to The Exorcist was historically the worst sequel of all time. The second one, yeah. The third one's kind of like a fun, underrated sequel. But The Exorcist 2, yeah, that sucked. But I can't like confidently remember much about them. I feel like that's something I watched once in like the 90s. Dustin Rich says, I wish I walked out of Wonder Woman 1984, still need therapy. Dude, I watched that at home on HBO Max and could not believe what I was watching. Like someone said, this is a good idea. And then they wrote it down on paper. And then they filmed the movie. And everyone edited the movie. And they still sat around in test screenings and went, yeah, this is good. Let's watch. This is a good idea. Continue on. Like out of all the ideas, you could have Wonder Woman, the things she could do. She just inhabits the body of a guy. Or wait, no. Didn't Chris Pine's character inhabit the body of some random guy? And she bangs the dude against his consent. And it's just like, thanks, man. And now that guy goes back to his old body and he's just like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, so you can't be too mad about it. But it's like, you know, sounds like a crime to some degree. I think would put you on a registry list. Like, I couldn't get away with doing that. They'd cancel me. Oh, the cheetah fight? Yeah. How do you feel about a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Well, they are coming out with the TV show or the movie for Netflix about Cliff Booth, which is sort of like a continuation of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I'm really looking forward to that. Isn't Fincher directing that? When does that come out? Once Upon a Cliff Booth, Netflix. The Adventures of Cliff Booth. So basically the same thing. The Adventures of Cliff Booth is an upcoming period comedy drama film directed by David Fincher and written by Quentin Tarantino. So it's not a series, it's a film. Comes out 2026. So that actually might be one of my also anticipated movies of 2026. And never do I say this, is a Netflix going to be one of my most anticipated movies of 2026, but I will add The Adventures of Cliff Booth in there because it has a competent director. It's written by Tarantino based on Brad Pitt's character Cliff Booth. So I'm looking forward to that. It has a $200 million budget. Let that sink in for a minute. What was the budget to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? What, maybe $100 million? We'll go $120 million. $90 million. So the spin-off movie cost $200 million, but the original film with a bigger cast cost $90 million. That is insane, man. Okay. I'm telling you, Netflix embezzles their money. I don't know what they're doing. Who was your 90s sitcom crush? Mine is Aunt Becky from Full House. Rebecca Ramon Stamos, good stuff. Mine was Uncle Jesse. Just kidding. You know who mine was? I'll tell you. I'll show you. Now, if you were in the 90s as a kid and you watched a little show called Married with Children, mine was Christina Applegate from Married with Children, who played Kelly. I mean, do I need to say anything else? Okay, guys, I think on that note, Topanga. Oh, yes, Topanga. She still looks the same. Yeah, Boy Meets World, Topanga. Yes, also another one. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live show right there. As always, I want to say, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the questions tonight. Does mean a lot. And look out for a brand new live show this upcoming weekend. And we will finally talk about my top 10 worst and top 10 best movies of 2025. It's only February. It's not too far removed. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great Tuesday night, and I will see you guys this weekend. And if you guys want to watch some clips of the live show, go over to the Flickpick channel. I am trying to upload as many clips as I can from the live show when it comes to movie reviews or movie topics. And I also did post a few clips from the last week's live show here on this channel where I do a reaction to Masters of the Universe, and we talk about Jason Momoa as Lobo. So I'm going to try to put out more clips from the live shows. I know not everyone has 2.5 hours to watch my stupid face. I understand. So look out for those clips. As always, Dustin Rich says, I feel cheated. Why do you feel cheated, Dustin? Why do you feel cheated, man? Well, anyway, as always, have a good night. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.